It's time for Measure Twice.
Welcome to Measure Twice. I'm Rob Perugini, along with Joel Graber from Graber Custom Remodeling and Chris Kramer from C. Kramer Interiors. This is the show that helps you envision your home's potential. And you're listening to us on Michiana's News Talk 95.3 MNC. We're brought to you in part by Leatherman Supply. Everything windows, doors, cabinets, and countertops. And their showroom is now open in Granger, right next to C. Kramer Interiors, right on the corner there. And Hoosier Hardwood Floors, Michiana's trusted and valued experts on hardwood floors. You can visit them at HoosierHardwoodFloors.com. Welcome aboard. That's all I have to say. Welcome aboard. I can't wait to talk about the subject that we're going to talk about today. Because, Chris, it's not very often that I get to ruffle Joel's feathers.
Evidently, you must have.
Yes.
So he's already.
I'm even leaning forward here.
So it came to my attention that Joel has a job, right? That somebody approached them for a job to do siding on their house, like wood siding, very crafty, hard to do, whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. But they only want to do two sides of the house. They want to keep the other two sides of the house. Now, the other two sides, and let me paint the picture. The other two sides of the house are...
No. There are like 6 sides to this.
Well, yes, okay. But they only want to do 2.
Because of the bump out.
Yeah, because it's not a perfect square, okay? But they only want to do 2 walls and leave the remaining walls that are at least 2 decades old, I would say.
Actually, I don't know. I mean, it looks like it's pretty new. The problem is, and the reason that they want to do this is they've had issues with woodpeckers, and we've talked about that.
We've talked about the woodpeckers.
Yeah.
We've been working on a house right beside it for over a year, really, because everything's been renovated, and we're just about done. Well, the last part has been siding. So he came over and asked us if we could side 2 sides of it.
Because you know what happens when you side a house? It looks like when you paint a living room. It looks like you got a new room. It looks like you got a new house.
Yeah.
You know, new siding is the freshest thing you can do to a house on the outside because, that and landscaping, it kind of makes it like, whoa. Right? So it draws attention when you put siding on. And this is what happened. So he comes over.
And he says he wants to get some numbers for refinishing his exterior.
Right.
So
And
that was before we knew what he wanted. We knew that he's had issues with woodpeckers,
Which is not uncommon for
No.
wood, especially cedar siding.
Yeah.
yeah, and
Wood siding.
and now that we've talked about this before, I've looked up woodpeckers and the damage that they can do. And it's not the giant woodpeckers that get you. I didn't even realize that they were small. I only thought there was one. I'm from New Jersey, man.
Yeah, there's several species of woodpecker.
I mean, so many. And most of them are not the ones that you hear going like that rapid fire one. That's a specific one, but there's tons of littler ones.
Yeah.
So the 2 sides that he wants to have done, do they match the other 4?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's the same style.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
He just wants to repair the sides that the woodpeckers have done damage to.
He wants to. So it's currently wood siding.
Okay.
He wants to put vinyl siding on those 2
Oh
sides.
no!
And there we go.
Oh no!
That's what I said. It made me angry.
You can't do that.
Well, and
You're not going to do that.
No. Thank you. I'm going to tell my dad he has to listen to this.
You can't.
Well, and the thing is it's for sale. This house, it's for sale. It's on a lake.
Yeah, we don't want to disclose too much because we don't want to.
And it's expensive. They're asking a lot, which they should because it's a nice place.
It's a lake property.
Lake.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I looked it up.
If I
They're not
was
scared
going to
charge
look
you.
at this house and 2 sides of it had vinyl siding,
And the rest was wood?
yeah, I'd be like, no, I'm not buying this for this because now I have to do something here. And I would be like, who's the jack that did this?
Yeah. I wouldn't want my name on that.
No, I don't.
No, you don't do that. You
No.
can't do that. You
No.
cannot do that.
Why not?
I mean, you can, but I wouldn't be the one doing it.
Why can't you do it? What's the
Because, oh my gosh.
So we're talking about,
you even
if you just tuned in, we're talking about somebody who wants to side just 2 walls of their house, but with different siding, essentially.
Do you know how cheap that's going to look compared to the wood siding on all the way around? Then you put vinyl siding on 2 walls, exterior walls. No,
And you can't match the look. It's
no,
impossible.
it's impossible.
But guys,
And the
it
siding is
only,
an 8-inch.
it only
lap,
matters if you walk
which is
around the
bigger lap
house.
than normal.
What's that?
I said it only matters if you walk around the house. If you just pick the 2 sides that you want to just stay on all the time, then
I just need to replace it with like cement siding or something of that nature so that it looks at least cohesive.
Yeah.
You want a cohesive look. Especially, I mean, oh my gosh. What are they thinking? A quick fix.
That's exactly what they're thinking.
but
But it devalues
That's what
the
it will
home.
look like. And I feel like it will be a bad look for us.
I agree. There are certain things you just have to kind of say, I thank you. I mean, we're too busy, or
Yeah.
I can't get to this right now.
well, luckily we have other there's other people talking about it to this customer, not Joel, because I feel like Joel would be like, we just don't do that.
Well,
I
don't
would
think
have.
it-
I mean, that
think
would
you'd
that
be
was
a little
my
too blunt on that. I think
that would have been my initial reaction. Is like, yeah, I'm sorry, I can't do that.
Well,
But the cement siding actually is a good idea because you can just have it painted the same color, and it's going to be
and it's woodpecker proof.
Yeah, but the thing is it's woodpeckers. You cover 2 sides. Where are they going to go?
The other 3,
The other 4 sides. It's not like you've fixed the problem. You've just pushed them a little to the east.
What tells that I think the motivation behind this is quick fix so we can sell it.
and
I think it's going
But
to.
that'll deter
actually
from the
it will
sale.
it will actually.
Devalue the
we are not-
property.
we are not helping them in that situation.
No.
And if you want to be kind of like, I don't know what the term would be, but if you want to hide the problem, so to speak, like which this appears to be doing, right? I'm just hiding a problem. You are actually pointing out the problem.
Yeah.
You're actually pointing
Yeah,
to it.
it looks like a fix. Like, what are you hiding?
Yeah, like what's going on? You
Right.
know, like if you walk into a bathroom and there's and you can see in the wall, like in the open, there's a cutout made right in the wall, right there in the open. Well, you know something happened, or else that wouldn't be there.
Yeah.
What's going on? If you go to a house and 2 of the walls out of 6 are just flat different, you're actually pointing it out. Like you're not. There's no high. You didn't pick the carpet up and sweep stuff under it. You took the carpet and put a sign with an arrow. It said, "This is where I keep my dirt." You know, like
Yeah.
this is
It's kind of like cutting a patch out of your carpet and putting something completely in the middle.
exactly.
What, you wouldn't do that?
Isn't that the Cincinnati look? I don't know. Doesn't that have a name? Is there a design name for that?
Wow, that just blows. I'm kind of shocked that they wouldn't recognize that's a problem.
Yeah. And so what I imagine, and I'm just speculating here in this particular case, is that this gentleman or this homeowner or somebody probably had people look at the house and complain about that siding, right? Say, well, you know what, we're going to need to side or whatever. And the light bulb went off to go, oh, well, I'll just fix that.
Right.
Right? Like it's plumbing. Like, oh, that's a leaky pipe. I'll just fix that. And somebody probably needs to position it in a way.
That's the motivation. If it's being pointed out, then do it right.
Yeah.
Fix it properly. You will come out ahead.
Yeah.
In the long run.
In the long run.
Versus now you've got a new negative.
Yeah, you just replaced it with a different negative. Like a different one. And
well, I can't complain that it's bad anymore.
Right, I won't hear that complaint anymore. No, you're just going to get the realtor is going to get the question. See,
Yeah.
they're never going to make it to you as the homeowner.
Right.
They're going to get to a realtor. So now it's already filtered.
The only way that's going to work is somebody bought that and tore it down to build something different.
Is that a possibility with this house, Joel?
I mean, it's nice. It's a really nice house. I don't.
Yeah.
I mean, you wouldn't
I'm just
buy it
saying.
to tear it down.
Well,
You might do well.
you'd be surprised.
You'd. I could see where you would buy it and like do some adding on. There's some things that I might. If I was buying it, there's a couple of things I'd do on that would really make it like a real positive.
Elevate
difference.
it.
Yeah, but it's really nice.
And is this in a good place on the lake?
Oh yeah, it's a fantastic spot.
So-
With a view type thing, like, or whatever, like a,
Yeah, it's in my world. I'd be sorry. I mean, we're really busy. We can't get to it now. If you want to do it this way, call me.
Right.
Well, when we come back, let's talk about that for a second, because this is a good springboard into some things that, we should probably talk about. When we come back, this is Measure Twice. Welcome back to Measure Twice. I'm Rob Perugini, along with Chris Kramer from C. Kramer Interiors and Joel Graber from Graber Custom Remodeling. This is the show that helps you envision your home's potential, and you're listening to us on Michiana's News Talk 95.3 MNC. We are brought to you in part by Leatherman Supply. Everything windows, doors, cabinets, and countertops. And the showroom right now open in Granger next to C. Kramer Interiors. And Hoosier Hardwood Floors, Michiana's trusted and valued experts on hardwood floors. You can visit them at HoosierHardwoodFloors.com. We're talking about essentially the overall theme today is like, when you have a project, complete it. Really, that's the moral of the story. And we're using this under we're talking about a potential customer that somebody in Joel's company was talking with, who only wanted to side 2 walls of their house, and they wanted to use completely different siding than the other 2. And then hilarity ensued in this studio, because that's probably not a great idea for a lot of reasons. And specifically, the reason of you are solving a problem of woodpecker damage in this case, wood siding the vinyl, but you're not really solving the problem because the woodpeckers just move, and you're going to have to do that. And if you're trying to sell your house, you're literally pointing to the problem because you didn't really fix the whole problem.
Now, okay. So I threw my dad under the bus a little bit on that, but I will say this, like, I know where he's coming from because he's like genuinely one of the most compassionate men I've ever met.
Well, he didn't accept the work, though,
and he
right?
didn't accept the work necessarily. I mean, he's still talking with the guy, but like he grew up Mennonite, I grew up Mennonite. We're not anymore, but a statement of pride in the Mennonite world is, look how much I saved, So that kind of gets ingrained in you at times, and somebody comes to you and is like, I want to fix this, but I don't want to, I'm selling it and I don't want to spend all this. I just want to do this. And, so he's looking at it saying, okay, I want to help this guy out. We don't need the job. The other thing is, it's not like we need the job. It's just like, why?
But
It would hurt us to not come up with a better solution.
Right.
You can't just say, as a business owner, you can't just say, nope. You got to say.
I mean, and so that's probably where we balance each other out, because I would just be like, I'd probably become indignant. Like, what are you asking me to do? So I need a little help on my own end.
Right. It's the solving the problem in that particular case. But
right.
what it points to is we use an extreme case to point out some things that there are people in our listening audience that might be doing by accident. Like they're not, and this guy's doing that by accident.
I think so,
right?
yeah, absolutely.
People have a pile of money that they get to use, and they have their situation, and they have to try and sometimes make it fit, and it's not always awesome, right? Or sometimes you just can't tell.
It has to fit.
or sometimes you just can't tell that you're making a decision that's actually not a complete decision.
Right.
This is where I'm going with this. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
I mean, in this particular situation, I'm guessing he's been seeing what we've been doing and how phenomenal it looks. And he's like, oh, I can make it look so good doing this. And, well,
2 sides will look good.
right.
You can't-
And
Or 4 sides will look better than the 2 sides that were just done.
yeah.
could be because of what it's going on.
Because you're using
in this case,
but
it's wood to vinyl.
Wood to vinyl, you're using an inferior product.
Right. Right.
Not that vinyl doesn't look great.
Not that
does.
not that vinyl's a problem in of itself,
Right.
but when you're
If you're putting them side
by side,
Exactly.
you are using a lesser material to fix a problem.
Right. Whereas if you did the whole thing in vinyl, now that you don't have a comparative,
Correct.
it just looks sharp and good,
Right.
and
Yeah.
fresh. Where you don't get that, and you have to think that through.
So, is the wood siding? Is it board and batten?
No, it's a lap.
Is it lap?
Lap, yeah.
It's a lap. And I'm fairly certain, this is why I don't think it's multiple. I think it's only a couple of years old, what's been done. I haven't gone over and like really looked hard at it, but I think it's like a LP smart siding or something similar to that. So you could do a cement siding that would look very similar.
So you could actually copy it.
Pretty close.
Oh,
Where you wouldn't think about it.
but it would
It
be,
wouldn't stand. It definitely would blend more so
Oh,
than the
so
other.
much.
I didn't
obviously.
realize-
You could paint it the same color and
Yep. It'll have a similar grain texture.
Right.
So it'll look like.
well, and that's why I think it's an LP type smart siding, because the grain pattern doesn't change necessarily.
You think that's what's there now?
I think that's
the woodpeckers eat
But
that.
a woodpecker go through that? I didn't think they would.
I think it's
I didn't
wood.
think so either. Maybe it's full wood, but the grain pattern's very. I mean,
It's too
and
it's too uniform.
It's extremely uniform, and that's why it's like,
That's odd
yeah,
because it doesn't happen. Nature doesn't.
No.
Unless those two where the woodpeckers damaged it was wood, and he already made a 2-wall solution once.
but
maybe
they shouldn't have continued the damage.
he's saying in a different area.
Yeah, I'm saying maybe the other walls were repaired,
But if you had done
not
that,
those two. I
but
mean,
if you
maybe.
had done that, wouldn't you have already said, "Oh, well, I can just use this
Material.
party material or whatever, manufacturer."
It's probably there's a big there's a big difference in cost too between the two, vinyl and the party side and the cement siding.
Cement siding's got to be way more.
Oh,
right?
way more.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with vinyl siding. I mean,
No, it's used 90% of the time.
yeah, and it really is like we're just on an aside for siding. When you're driving around, look around at some of the cool looks that the freedom that people are using to, and I don't mean crazy like make yourself house like neon or whatever.
No.
But I'm saying like, wow, with the lines, like the borders that are built into the vinyl siding now that didn't used to be. Like you had a white house, every single thing was white except for your shutters, and they were black, and that was your choice. You know,
Right.
Now it's like you get these deep greens and earth tones with trim that's
Like, again, they're kind of following the trends, color trends.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the architectural style of the home. So we're not as afraid of color
Yeah,
on the
exactly.
exterior as we used to be.
Yeah.
We used to be very limited.
and most of that's vinyl. And probably most of that was made possible because vinyl was easy to change the colors of, you know.
Well, and they've come a long way with vinyl because some of it's now UV protectant, so it doesn't fade as readily.
Exactly,
and
yeah.
so
Well, and the gauge is different, so now you can
It holds up better.
and you can make the financial decisions within the vinyl selection now.
yeah,
you know.
I don't think that we're knocking
Knocking
vinyl,
vinyl,
at
that's what I
all.
was-
It's
at
just-
all. It's
It would be the application,
right.
and that's where I had the hard time.
Yeah, if you have cedar siding and you
Or
replace
any sort of wood
right
type siding, I would say.
or any wood, right? You wouldn't go up and replace one panel with, like, let's say you had one panel of the wood siding or one whatever. You wouldn't go in and replace it with vinyl on the wall, that wall.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, you wouldn't replacing a whole wall with something entirely different, unless you were supposed to accent or use it for like.
Well, first of all, you're never going to match the color.
No.
Vinyl versus wood.
It would always look different.
Always look different. Yeah, and that just blows my mind, to be honest with you.
Same.
But in my verbiage would be to 2 walls. You'd be better off to do either everything in siding or vinyl, or repair these 2 walls with what similar product that you have on the rest of the house. Keep it cohesive.
Right. I mean,
that's gonna turn more people off.
right. I mean, and
I don't care where the house is.
Right.
right. It doesn't matter what neighborhood, what socioeconomic level your neighborhood's in.
Yeah.
It doesn't
It goes
matter.
back to what you're saying. Like you're drawing attention to something that is a problem, and then you start saying, well, what is this problem?
And then you're gonna go, oh boy, if they did that, what
Right.
else is there?
Right.
That's right. You introduced the most dangerous word in real estate. What else? Right.
What else are you covering?
Exactly. I should probably take a good hard look at the HVAC system. I should probably really look to see if there's water somewhere or what are the outlets like on those walls? Because what happened, do the windows leak or,
Yeah, you just opened up the whole world of negative.
right. You introduced it at the curb.
We spend so much time in our business overcoming obstacles. You just put up a whole
Right.
bunch more, because all we do is overcome. Well, I don't know if that's going to work. Well, it will work because of X, Y, and Z. So you just,
and ultimately, what's going on is it doesn't look complete. So it looks like it's in transition.
when are they going to finish the rest of it?
Yeah, because I get it. If you're in a situation and you can afford 2 walls today, it's just
It's a quick fix for a sale.
yeah. It's definitely like the yeah. I don't even, that's the perfect way to say it. And it looks like it. But when we come back, we'll take it inside because these same situations happen inside.
Well, you bet.
Yeah. So we come back. This is
All I
Measure
kept thinking
Twice.
is I got a whole house of this.
We'll be right back. Welcome back to Measure Twice. I'm Rob Perugini, along with Joel Graber from Graber Customer Modeling and Chris Kramer from C. Kramer Interiors. This is the show that helps you envision your home's potential, and you're listening to us on Michiana's News Talk 95.3 MNC. We're brought to you in part by Leatherman Supply. Everything windows, doors, cabinets, and countertops, with a showroom now opening Granger next to C. Kramer Interiors and Hoosier Hardwood Floors, Michiana's trusted and valued experts on hardwood floors. And you can visit them at HoosierHardwoodFloors.com. We're talking about basically, do things in a complete way. Really, that's the moral of the story here. And specifically, if you have, for example, 2 walls of your house that need siding, then you probably should do all the walls, not just because that's just
or do an appropriate fix.
But look, it's kind of low-hanging fruit on the outside. It's pretty evident. Everybody can go like, oh, of course, right, on that. But when you look at things that are incomplete or aren't quite done all the way on the inside of the house, right, that exists too. And it might be a little bit more subtle, right, and nuanced, right? If you're if you're just fixing one thing in a kitchen, like you have one bad cabinet, does that mean you have to change out all the cabinets?
No.
No?
No.
But isn't it the same as siding?
No.
Wouldn't that be
It's a little easier to match.
Much easier to match.
Like, for example, if you have a bad cabinet that needs a new, let's say the door broke or something, it's easier to get, those door styles are pretty much still around, and you could get a new replacement door.
And any good cabinet shop can make up a door that's going to match.
Yep. So it's a lot easier to do a repair and keep it.
And even like, you do some paint samples, make sure that the paint is where you can't tell a difference.
So it's a little...
Or stain samples, depending on what it is.
If you were to try to compare it to what we were talking about on the exterior of that one house, it'd be like in the kitchen, I'm going to take that bank of cabinets out and I'm going to do a whole different color and style.
Right. So, well, I wanted to start small, like small repair, but that's the equivalent of that. It's
Right.
like, I'm going to replace these cabinets one cabinet at a time.
Right. I'm just going to do one cabinet and keep everything else the same. It's like, and it's going to be this color and everything else is this color. Like, no.
You're not going to do that.
You're not going to do that.
But you've said before, like for countertops, you can have two different countertops.
Right. That's not uncommon.
Right.
Or you can have two different colors of your cabinets if you want.
Yep.
As long as it's...
You can?
Yeah.
Yeah, like your uppers, your overheads and your base cabinets, or your wall, everything on the wall and an island.
Yeah. It's not uncommon to see stained lower cabinets with painted uppers.
And why do you say, why is that on? Is that because it matches the floor better, or is this
It's just a look. It's an interest, just to give you some contrast, so that's not always all the same.
Well, let's say your refrigerator broke, and you don't have stainless steel, everything else, but you put a stainless refrigerator in. Is that?
Chris says all the time, metal doesn't matter.
It doesn't. That doesn't. A stainless steel refrigerator, if everything else is paneled, there's nothing wrong with that.
Like,
It's an expectation that a stainless steel refrigerator, cool. Now, what is a problem is that my refrigerator broke. All my appliances are black, but I'm putting a white refrigerator in. That's wrong.
That's wrong. That's avoid that. Or vice versa.
Or vice
Everything
versa.
else is black and
And
white.
you put a white refrigerator. Yeah.
And you put a black refrigerator in, like you won't do that. Does the color of the sink matter based on what color refrigerator you have?
No, you should just have a stainless.
Most sinks are stainless, so it doesn't. No, it doesn't matter.
So the only acceptable surface.
Exactly. No.
You don't like ceramic, or what is it? Is it porcelain?
No, I like the porcelain ones. Those are really nice.
Cast iron.
The cast iron, they're dogs.
Cast iron sink.
It's got a porcelain
Glaze over it.
Okay, because I'm like, wouldn't that be cool though? Like just
Cast iron.
It rust in
Rust.
about 10 seconds.
Yeah.
You would watch it rust. You could actually just watch it oxidize
actually.
in front of you. Now copper, you could do. Could you have like a copper sink?
They're out there.
But
We've done them.
They're
Would you do
designed to
something-
change, right?
Would you do? Are there some metals that wouldn't really work with that?
Yeah, like stainless steel or brushed nickel. Don't see that with copper because you're mixing warm and cool tones.
So if you have a copper sink, you shouldn't have brushed.
Or brass. I don't see brass with either. Usually we go dark, like an oil rub bronze or a black.
With
you have copper.
Yeah. So you want warm and warm?
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying? And the others are too cold? Stainless steel is cold, right? Would be.
Stainless steel is cold. It's a cool finish versus your brasses that's a warm finish.
Okay.
And to mix them can be difficult because one will rob the other. So visually, a copper sink is warm. I don't mean to the touch, but it's a warm
I get it.
tone.
It's like and so okay, kind of got off in a tangent.
Well,
this is cool.
but that goes to like if you have to replace a faucet, don't just grab a cheap one and throw it in there because I'm selling the place and then it doesn't match any of the other tones.
Yeah, right. And so, way to bring it back, Joel. Nice job.
Yeah.
But you're right. We're talking about like when you do these changes and they look incomplete.
That doesn't look incomplete. It just looks like
Off.
It's just
Or
off.
Yeah, that's a better. If it looks off, not everybody's going to pinpoint it. They're not all going to walk into the kitchen and be like, "That's weird." Sometimes some people are just going to be like, "Nah, I don't know what it is. I don't like the kitchen." You know,
It
like
doesn't feel right.
It just doesn't feel right. Some will go, "Well, I noticed that. I noticed that's a different faucet. Like, do you know why they had to replace it?" And then you'll have the realtor be like, "Well, I don't know. I could ask." You know, that's not a great sales situation.
Mm-hmm. You want to, especially if you're selling, you want it to be seamless and easy. You don't want to call attention to these details.
Right.
Right, because it ultimately costs you dollars.
Right.
But if you're living in it, You still don't really want that because it
No.
just doesn't feel like we were talking about. It's that feel. You know, this is your home. You want to be comfortable in it, and if it's not, if it's off balance, you feel it.
Right.
You feel it, but you may not recognize what it is, but there's an underlying current of something doesn't feel right.
And then you're tossing and turning all night. You're getting terrible sleep.
Next
You
thing
end
you
up
know,
anxious and depressed.
you're late for work a couple times a week, and you can't figure out why, and it all stems back
You
to
lose
that
your
faucet.
You lose your job. You become an alcoholic. Everything just goes to crap.
This is how serious this is. We're saving lives, is what we're doing here.
Yeah, we are.
Yes, I was worried this wasn't important. But you know what? The functionality of your kitchen, we talk about this all the time. It's like that is the bathroom and the kitchen is where function and beauty or form
Follows function.
they meet. And just because you got something working, like operating, that doesn't mean it's working. That's what I meant to say. Just because something is operating properly doesn't mean it's working. Because if it's causes a little bit of stress every time you look at it, like over time, really that does add up. It's like it's uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
If I can speak from experience, I'm not a double sink guy, and neither is my wife. We have a double sink, and I'm telling you, until we don't have one, there's a little piece of us that is incomplete in there in the kitchen.
Is that why it hasn't all been sunshine and roses?
Yeah, it's the sink. Your Honor, irreconcilable differences.
Yeah.
We're just not double sink people.
See, and I'm the opposite. I have a single bowl, and I want a double.
Trade you.
Swap.
Trade you. Trade you out. That's and it's a real simple fix, like it's not really hard to do that, to change it, right? Go from a double to a single.
No.
Not really, but it's like we just kind of. I always my thing is, well, I'm not going to change it till I redo the kitchen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're at the point personally where we're just going to get a sink and change it because it's just we're Italian. You're Italian,
Yeah.
aren't you? What are you doing with the big pasta pot? What are you doing? You got to carry that thing. It doesn't work. I won't be
So
able
what's that got to do with this single or a double sink?
because on a double the pot doesn't fit. You can't put it in the sink and fill it.
True, but
Or
I
wash it.
But I don't make pasta often.
Doesn't the help at the house complain about that?
My mother.
I shouldn't put that out in the ether. You get an earful, I don't want that for you. But these are the things that we're talking about, though. So it's like in a kitchen, if it feels like if it feels like a fix, that people are aware
Yeah.
of that, and you're introducing that, and then you, like you said, it creates that. Well, what else? What else?
What are you hiding?
Yeah, like where's your bathroom's the same thing.
I was just thinking that.
That's probably even worse because your guests or you are like very focused. That's
Extremely focused.
Meaning like you're in there
For a purpose.
Yeah, and maybe it's the end of this segment. I think we should probably, when we come back, we'll wrap this up for you in a nice little bow because I guess there's some things you can do to help avoid that. When we come back, this is Measure Twice. Welcome back to Measure Twice. I'm Rob Perugini, along with Chris Kramer from C. Kramer Interiors and Joel Graber from Graber Custom Remodeling. This is the show that helps you envision your home's potential, and you are listening to us on Michiana's News Talk 95.3 MNC. We're brought to you in part by Leatherman Supply. Everything windows, doors, cabinets, and countertops, with the showroom now open in Granger, right next to C. Kramer Interiors and Hoosier Hardwood Floors, Michiana's trusted and valued experts on hardwood floors. You can visit them at HoosierHardwoodFloors.com. Well, we're talking about, look, if something goes awry in the home, fix it all the way. Don't put Band-Aids, because Band-Aids cause other problems. And we didn't even talk about, and maybe we'll talk about that a little bit now, but if you're fixing a problem, the quick fix is just that. It's not a solution. It is not. There's no finality to a quick fix, and if you're fixing something and people can see it, you might be creating other problems or creating a detective when they come over. And if you're trying to sell your house and you do something that isn't the solution to a problem, it's just a quick fix, you're creating little Sherlock Holmeses. Don't you think? Like they're like, oh, okay, I'm going to I might look more closely at other things, in this house. And if you do that quick fix and it's at the curb, right? I was reading about mailboxes, and if you're selling your house, it's not a bad idea to spruce up your mailbox if it's front and center. If you have one of the, because it causes that Sherlock Holmes effect, that detective effect. Isn't that funny? Like it doesn't add. I don't want to pretend that it adds value to your home, right. But what it does is it makes it so that the person who shows up there is less aware.
Yeah, if you're not taking care of your mailbox, what else aren't you taking care of?
And it's like you don't need a fancy one. They're not saying they're just saying, hey, look, either make it so that people don't notice it, right? It's not even there. It's just functional. Or if you do make it fancy, just make sure you make it look really good.
Yeah, it's the same thing with your landscaping.
Exactly.
If it's all overgrown and with weeds and everything,
it makes everything
thinking
feel like it's just
unkept.
Yeah. Whereas if it's just handsome and unnoticeable but kept, then people move on from it.
Right.
Or if you're really good at it, make it look magnificent.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, I find the same thing with my beard. When it needs to be trimmed, people treat me differently than when it is trimmed.
Yes. If he has an untrimmed beard and he goes to Aldi, people give him the quarter. Yeah. And they don't even shop with the basket. They just put everything in their hands.
Walk like an arc around me.
They just keep
stay away
you
from
distance.
This guy. He looks shady.
That's pretty funny. Either he gets when you want to be alone, you just frizz the beard up. Is that what you do?
Tease it out a little bit. And just let it look rough, like this morning.
Get him some Grecian formula.
It is so true. Like you can go in disguise based on your beard because you're like, was that Joel I'm used to him having a kept beard, and you could go in disguise, and the only thing you do is mess your beard up.
It just depends on when you're familiar with me. If you're familiar with me on a job site, you're like, this guy.
Yeah. I think it would
you wouldn't see me. You wouldn't recognize me when I've.
Don't you think it would be awesome if he parted his beard down the middle, or did maybe a comb over, maybe a side part where the seam of the part is just a little to the left of his chin?
I'm going to try that. See what my wife thinks.
I think actually he should shave from here, from just above the ear, just to the cheek,
and just have the beard.
And just have the beard right here,
just the big beard.
Yeah,
I'll do that when I shave my head bald.
Oh,
wow!
That's like vinyl siding a wood house.
That is the equivalent of 2-wall siding of Barbary.
I'll always think about that now.
If you can commit to get a full beard, you have options to either invite people to talk to you or definitely have the arc. If you want the arc, that's is true. your supply. You can definitely look deranged if you would like to. Better than hair. I think it's if somebody has a really spiked mohawk or whatever. It used to be you'd want to stay away from that person. Now that's the equivalent of tattoos. It's like, okay, that doesn't mean you're a tough guy.
Yeah.
That just means you like that weird hair.
Yeah.
Unkempt wild beard, still.
Mountain man.
Still.
Militia.
Yeah, you're definitely.
Or homeless.
Yes.
Or homeless, yeah.
This is definitely an open
carry. A lot of connotations there.
This is an open carry guy.
Yeah.
That's not that there's anything wrong with that. I'm a believer in that. I'm not trying to say
no, we're not.
But there are versions of open carry. There's the guy that's lonely and then there's the guy that's just protecting all the stuff all the time. I think a side part on a beard would be fantastic. A comb over.
Right out.
I'm balding, but on my chin. That is the man. Wow, where were we? We were way off topic.
Yeah,
there.
I was gonna say
But let's get back into that though, because when you're in design, Chris, is there a version of what we're talking about in just design? Where
a version of what?
Like putting a Band-Aid on. It's a quick fix for design. It's not actually fixing a design problem. Because I was thinking, like, once you do a quick fix in design, you've actually fixed it.
Yeah, I was going to say it's usually we fix the problem properly, or
Well,
we do
you
the
do.
correct. We do,
but I don't.
If you're coming to me and say, "Hey, I've got this issue. How can we fix it?"
Have you seen anything in
all
design
the
that
time?
is
All
that's that
the
equivalent?
time.
Where
All
it's
the
like,
time.
Oh, they did this, but it really didn't.
Well, one of my favorite things is if you go on like realtor.com and you're looking at houses and you're going, I saw one where they're in the primary bathroom, the bathtub was sunk in the floor. Completely.
Oh, you did talk about it's like having a puddle.
Yeah, a swimming pool. I mean, a trip with nothing around it to.
You have to do a Lindy into the pool.
I mean, I was just absolutely. I couldn't believe it. I can't even believe that would be code or pass
It can't
code.
be code. It can't be code. And so if you see something in a house that you know is not code, what does that tell you? Who does that informs you of who fixed that?
Or and it could have
Right?
been done before code too.
That's true.
But then when you're buying the house and you have an inspector, if having an inspector, they're going to say you need to change that.
A sunken tub, I bet probably I could see that getting by the code people. Like nobody would ever do that.
Nope.
Do we really have to say that the tub?
Do you know how dangerous that is?
Oh man.
Chris, it bothers me that exists.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's an accident. There's an accident out there.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, so do we recognize issues? Usually, what's happening is we're called in because of situations like that, and how do I fix it?
We need to get him a design ambulance. Like,
Yeah.
I got a 1099.
Just one of those like lights that you could stick on the top.
Oh yeah, like a detective.
EMT,
Like he's
an
like
EMT.
Yeah, he's just like
Call the design doctor.
Oh my goodness.
Oh Lord.
Oh no, we're not a sponsor. We will not mention that business.
I didn't. I just
Yeah.
said I was just.
That would be really funny. And now you know. And thanks for listening. This has been Measure Twice.
Podcasts by Federated Media.